remember, I think I was like 5 years old when they got the divorce. And I don't remember a lot, but I do remember one night my mom and dad were yelling at each other. And I remember walking downstairs and standing by the table and seeing them fight. And my dad was on one side and my mom was on the other side. And they were yelling across the table at each other. And I just remember them being really loud and waking me up from bed and going down and listening to the yelling. I have no memory of what they said or what they were arguing about. I just remember, and this is the weird part of my memory, but I've always remembered this. I remember me and all my siblings standing in a row watching them argue with each other. And there was 4 of us at the time. My mom was actually pregnant when they got a divorce.
Was baby number 5.
Mm-hmm.
Which, isn't that weird? Now you have 5 kids.
I know, that is weird.
Like, thinking back to that moment of, like, you've made it past that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Not that you weren't going to make it past that. Just saying, you know?
Totally. But I don't remember, as a kid, my parents ever arguing. I don't remember them ever fighting or having any problems in their marriage. But I do remember that fight. And I remember moving into a different house, into a small house. And I remember visiting my dad. And I remember he was staying in the big house while he kept working at Disney. And I remember visiting him one time after my parents had separated, because they separated for a long time before the divorce actually happened. I think it was several months.
Really?
Many months, yes.
Probably, the whole time she was pregnant.
Actually, yeah. And so later now, I remember my mom telling me what happened, and she was counseled by a lawyer to not get a divorce until after she gave birth, because if the birth happened before the divorce or after the divorce, sorry, did I say that right? Don't have the baby or don't have the divorce until after you give birth.
Yeah.
Because if she gave birth after the divorce, it could be construed that it wasn't his baby.
Can you imagine Marshall saying he's not Mark's baby? He's like, right. He looks like Mark. He acts like Mark.
Obviously.
Like, I mean, he's not exactly like Mark. He's got his own personality. But it's just so...
Right. The point is, I just remember my mom still being married when she had number 5.
So she didn't want to be, but she was because...
Well, it's not that she didn't want to be either. And this is all later knowledge.
Finding out
I didn't know this at the time because I was just 5. But I later learned that it was my dad who didn't want to be married anymore. And my mom was like really heartbroken over this because my dad was basically like, I just don't want to. I'm done, for whatever his reasons were.